Good morning, venters. I hope you guys are having a happy Saturday. It's thank God it's Friday for me. I am looking forward to this weekend, just kind of chilling and relaxing. Right now it feels like about 75 degrees this morning. Believe it or not, I think it's still supposed to be 102 degrees, but at this point I'm so used to 110s. 102 feels like air conditioning, if you know what I mean. So I am totally excited that it is nice and really cool this morning. Guys, I have a legitimate vent. I have talked to different venters about this. I really think that the next person in line that needs punishment after the criminal is the judge. And I'm hoping that the story that I share with you, I'm hoping it outrages you. And if you're in the state of Texas, I hope it makes your blood boil. I am mad at a judge, and I'm not the only one. In 2022, Howard Ruffin was arrested for domestic violence and battery in the state of Texas. Was it his first arrest? No. Like everybody that's a criminal, he tended to have multiple assault charges and domestic violence charges because apparently Howard Ruffin really likes beating the shit out of whatever woman he's with. And if you're with a man, ladies, or if you're with a woman, guys, and that woman or that man beat the shit out of their previous boyfriends or girlfriends, you are just asking for trouble. Do they tell you when that happens? No. But sometimes people end up finding out from the ex-girlfriend or the ex-boyfriend themselves. And if you find out that the person you're with is a creep, you should not be with them. And if you hear rumors that they beat people, you should not give them a chance to be in your life. Denise Bipp is a grandmother. Her daughter, Jacqueline Wilson, had 4 children. Denise Bipp was told by Dallas investigators that her daughter was killed. Denise Bipp's question was, did Howard Ruffin kill my daughter? The answer, yes. 39-year-old Howard Ruffin did kill her daughter. Howard Ruffin was given a $7,500 measly peasly bond by Deshaun Jones in 2022. He posts that $7,500 and he's got a warrant out for his arrest, right? And he goes over to Maverick County where he ends up posting another bond for another domestic violence case that he has. So you have this guy that should have been in jail, but instead he's hopping around the state of Texas and he ends up taking out Jacqueline Wilson 2 days later. Now, I don't know about you guys, but if somebody posts bond and takes out my daughter 2 days later, I'm going to be pissed at the judge. So Deshaun Jones, I hope everybody in the state of Texas throws you in jail. I think you should be audited. I think we should take a look at every darn person that you let out, because guess what? That money probably goes to the state of Texas. So the state of Texas got a little money out of it. This bad guy, Mr. Ruffin, he gets his freedom, and then he takes the life of Miss Wilson. So now Mrs. Bipp has these 4 grandchildren that are without a mother. And I blame you, Deshaun Jones, and I think everybody in the state of Texas should reach out to you and ask you why the heck you let this guy out that had multiple assault charges against his ex-girlfriends. Why'd you let him out for $7,500? I mean, that is ridiculous. Could you imagine a guy beating people to the point where they're freaking really, really messed up, and then all of a sudden the judge rewards them with a measly peasly little bond that almost anybody could probably, pull together? That is ridiculous. And how many times have you done this, Judge Jones? How many times are you letting these criminals off with little slaps on the wrist, and then they're going out and repeating the crimes? At what point in this country are we going to say, hey, we need to stop these people? If you do one abuse, you're going to get jail time, none of this bond. And if you end up doing multiple offenses, you're going to start going under the jail. I get so mad because judges have the ability to throw the book at people. And if people need the book thrown at them and the judge isn't willing to do it, then why the hell does the judge have the job? You know, it's for a mother of 4 at age 32. What that tells me is that more than likely, her kids are probably all middle school or younger. Probably a lot of grade school kids amongst the 4. And now they're without a mom. And I agree with Mrs. Bipp, the grandma. It goes on you, Deshaun Jones. Please, people in Texas, go before your city councilman, go before your state congressman, get this judge's work up so we can take a look and evaluate it. How many times is he giving these hardened criminals a bullshit bond that they're able to pay for, and then they go right out and repeat the crimes? There is only one thing that I think is actually worse than these hardened criminals. I think it's the people that work hard to get these hardened criminals a 3rd and a 4th and a 5th chance. You know, it's called people deserve a second chance. Okay. People don't deserve 1,000,001 chances. Oh, well, Jesse, Jesus was about forgiveness. I think Jesus would want to take these people's hands. That's what I think. I think Jesus would say, wow, I believe I told you sin no more. Right? Jesus didn't say, hey, keep doing sins, I'm going to keep forgiving you. Whenever he forgave people, he would say, sin no more. What does sin no more mean? I mean, at what point do you have to say what Deshaun Jones does is criminal? At what point do you have to say these judges and these parole boards that are letting these heinous criminals back on the street, and if you go into jail for domestic violence and you're out 2 days later, what a sham. You're not a part of the justice system. You're a part of the criminal system, and you should be one of the criminals with them. I just think this is the worst thing. Now, here's the problem I have. Did Mrs. Bipp and did Miss Wilson have any idea when their daughter was in the midst and going out on dates with this guy that he had done this previously? Because this is a warning that goes out to every human being that can hear my voice. If you know your boyfriend or your girlfriend beat and put their hands on other people, they are going to do the same to you. And if your buddies, guys, are doing this to their girlfriends and wives, you need to find new friends and new buddies. It seems like the bad people always have a support system of people that are willing to help them do bad. I'm sick of it. I am sick of it. We need to start abandoning people that do these horrible things. Why do they always have a support system a mile long? And why do the victims always feel like they're on an island and nobody wants to help them? Golly, do you know what would help them the most? Make judges like Deshaun Jones have to hold responsibility for this. I would love to hear this guy go on camera, and I would love to hear some brave reporter that has some cojones. I would like to hear them go over every single one of the cases that the judge currently has out there. How many other Mr. Ruffins are being let out on the daily by judges like Judge Jones? By the way, the main problem that's happening in the state of Texas that they're saying is that at first this happened in a particular county. It was Harris County. That's where Judge Jones presides. Apparently, Mr. Ruffin, and again, I apologize, his name is Howard Ruffin. He's the bad guy here. Apparently, he left Harris County and he was kind of hanging out and living in Maverick County. Apparently, Harris County and Maverick County don't communicate well. So while a warrant's out for his arrest in Harris County, apparently all these bad guys have to do is go to Maverick County and everything will be okay, fine, and dandy. Isn't that wonderful, Texans? Your state is so large, there's probably thousands of counties in your state, and now all you have to do is hide in one of those counties, right? Hundreds of counties, right? So now you have this situation where all the bad guys know, hey, this is what our boy Ruffin did, right? All we have to do is go to Maverick County, and people from Harris County are blind to it. Here we are in the year 2024. We've got national agencies like the CIA and the FBI, right? They've been able to talk with each other since 9/11, but state counties like Harris and Maverick County in Texas are deaf, dumb, and blind when it comes to communicating with one another. And Deshaun, if you hear this, which I know you obviously never will, but Deshaun, the whole idea that you don't deserve to be honorable Judge, whatever. You shouldn't be honorable Judge Jones. You should be Deshaun, and you should be right there in jail with them. This is the problem with our judges. Half of them have this idea that they're going to try to make reform by giving these horrible criminals easy, lenient sentences. Look, if you want to give somebody an easy peasy sentence because they shoplifted, that's one thing. If you want to give somebody an easy sentence because, maybe they didn't pay parking tickets or they didn't pay some outstanding tickets, that's one thing. But if you have a guy that's beating the shit out of his girlfriends or out of his wife or out of his neighbors, put those people behind bars and let them think about what they've done wrong. You know what this sounds to me? This sounds to me like Mr. Ruffin had enough money to make this problem go away. If you have somebody that's a successful criminal and they have hundreds of thousands of dollars in the bank or tens of thousands of dollars, then what is $7,500? It's nothing. This guy's able to post these bond amounts within 24 hours and get out of jail. Judge Jones, you know what bad people do when you let them out of jail? They go after the victims. They try to silence them. They try to do horrible things. Why does it take a YouTuber taking a daily walk in Arizona to tell you the error of your ways? And why do you deserve to walk free and happy, probably enjoying your morning Starbucks, when other people are miserable because of you? I hope the people in Texas refuse to ever let this guy back on the judging chambers again. Get him off the bench. He deserves to be expelled. And they ought to start auditing these judges. I have a feeling that today, as we speak, there's some sort of judge in Harris County that is probably letting a person just like Mr. Ruffin back on the streets. Guys, we're going to hear about these stories every day. As a matter of fact, the only reason I'm mentioning this is because I happened to catch it. This happened in Houston, Texas, by the way, in case you're wondering. And I'm sorry that I'm stumbling and bumbling over my words, but what happens is every day there's a new story like this. At what point do we have to say this is on the parole board? This is on the judges? And at what point do we have to quit letting, here's what upsets me. If you are voting, when you go to vote, and you're voting for these judges, it's one thing if you're a Democrat, and you live in a blue city, and you believe in democratic ideals, okay? It's okay to vote Democrat. But when it comes to your law and order and protection, you really should vote conservative. I'm being honest with you. It's one thing if you want to vote for Kamala Harris. It's one thing if you want to vote blue. I don't have problem with people that are Democrats. A lot of Democrats consider themselves John F. Kennedy Democrats, where if you were to really break it down, they're almost conservative. Am I upset at Democrats? No. But I am upset at Democratic judges. Those people do not belong in situations where they're laying out punishment to criminals. You want a judge and a district attorney that are going to protect you. And we need to quit giving third and fourth and fifth chances to these people. And I really think we need to consider doing something that's a little bit more permanent to these people. I don't know if you need to take away their hands. I mean, could you imagine if we could surgically remove the bad guy's hands, let them feel what it's like to be a victim? Let's get the bad guys out of our lives. If you want to give a bad guy a second and a third and a 15th chance, then let's start talking about some novel ideas. Let's start talking about eye for an eye. You lay your hands on multiple people, it's no longer on them for upsetting you. It's on you for putting your hands on multiple people. Maybe we need to start looking into having your hands surgically removed. Surgically removed in a way where you can go to sleep and wake up and your hands are gone. So you can know what it's like to be a victim. So that you can be the one who leaves and your family gets screwed, rather than the families getting screwed because their moms or dads are victims of yours. That's what we need to do. And until people can start saying, you know what, whether I'm Democrat or Republican, Jesse is right. We need to get these animals off the street. How sad that there's 4 kids that over the last month have been without their mom. And their mom is never going to walk through the doors again. And now Grandma Bip, now she has to play the role of mom for these 4 kids. And you want to know what's shitty? There's no guarantee that Grandma Bip can do that. And there's no guarantee that these 4 kids won't have to become part of a foster system. Do I think that's going to happen to them? No. I have a feeling Grandma Bip's going to come through. But man, wouldn't it be nice if Grandma Bip had a judge that came through for her? Isn't it crazy that some judges out there would have thrown the book at this guy, but Deshaun Jones couldn't? That is horrible. And just to know that Deshaun Jones literally, as I'm speaking, is probably sitting in his judge's chamber, probably eating a nice cushy meal from a nice restaurant, right? He might even be chatting it up with his buddies and lawyers and different, must be nice to have a big wig lunch while people that you're letting out on the street are taking other people's lives. Golly, that is just awful. And you know what? We vote these people into office and they appoint these judges and we let all these judges up. And it's like, you know what? What do we do with coaches on football teams? We take a look at their wins and losses, and if they have too many losses, we don't let them coach endlessly. Losing coaches don't stay in the NFL for long. They get eliminated from that job. Why do we look at coaches in the NFL, and why do we hold coaches up to a higher standard than we do our judges in the penal system here in the States? And in case you're wondering, I've always been under the impression that Texas is one of the tougher states. But then you start to look and you start to realize, oh, well, Houston's that blue dot in Texas. Maybe what we need to do is we need to say, you know what? I'm a Democrat, but I'm going to vote some Republican conservative judges in so that we have a penal system that punishes the bad and actually tries to give sympathy towards the good. Because you want to know something? When you punish the bad, you don't reward the good. You provide sympathy and empathy to the good, because the good symbolize the victims. Everything we do in this country, whether you like it or not, is catered towards the bad guy. Why don't we become that country that actually is a beacon of light in the darkness? And why don't we start taking care of our citizens and caring less about the bad guy that doesn't care about things like rights, that doesn't care about, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness? And I have a feeling Mr. Ruffin right now is probably being celebrated in whatever jail he's in, because, hey, here's a guy that kills people. You better give him some respect, otherwise he might take your life. How about we throw him in jail without his hands? How about we do that? My goodness. And then when you go in jail, you find out that it's a bunch of gangs and different things. People go into jail and then they get treated like kings in there. It's ridiculous. I just can't believe this is allowed to happen. And I think there has to come a time where, once again, like every other problem, we need to start examining ourselves. We need to start looking in the mirror. And we need to start saying, hey, I'm a part of a world that sucks. I need to make sure that judges get in there and they throw the books at these people. This guy should not be out of jail ever again. Why? Because he beats up every single girlfriend that he has, and there's too many women out there that are willing to say, well, it won't happen to me. I don't let that shit happen to me. Bullshit, you already did by agreeing to go out on dates with these guys. The only way to fight evil is to get a little evil yourself. It's called fighting fire with fire. Some reason, somehow, we look at the biblical, eye for an eye, and we say, well, that's gonna, if you take out someone's eye, you're just leading to a world full of blindness. No, when you keep people's eyes in and you let bad guys on the street, you're choosing to be blind. You're choosing to be Helen Keller with your criminal system. And I'm telling you, we need to look at Deshaun Jones's record, and we need to say, you know what? You've got 50 or 60 people, because I bet he does. He probably has 50 or 60 people that are just as bad as Mr. Ruffin, and he's probably got them out and about the state of Texas right now as we speak. And wouldn't it be gross and negligent if we were to audit this judge and you find out that it's not 50 or 60 people? For all we know, he could have 500 or 600 people, just like Mr. Ruffin, out there terrorizing their ex-boyfriends and girlfriends because the judges won't put them behind bars. What happens with that $7,500? Does it just get gobbled up by the penal system there and the court system in Texas? Because that's one of my complaints. Every time you need to do anything with the courts, it costs you an arm and a leg. Where the hell does that money go? Does it just get gobbled up and the bad guy goes back on the street anyway? I hope Mrs. Bipp sues the state of Texas, and I hope she wins millions of dollars. And I hope the state of Texas does something to Judge Deshaun Jones. And again, Deshaun, if you're listening to this, I hope you feel guilty for the rest of your life. That's what we need in this country. We need people to start having a sense of guilt. We need people to start looking at the person in the mirror and saying, you know what? This person is a piece of shit. I need to work on this person. Holy moly. Mala and Sean are probably thinking, holy shit, Jesse's mad today. I'm mad because I think we need to realize it. Judges and parole boards are not doing a good service to the people of the community. They're just not. This is not a Texas problem. This is a problem for everywhere in the U.S. Why can't we as a people stand up together and say we're for the victims once and for all? Let's take a vote on it. How many people, I want to find out how many people are for the bad guys. We need to take a national vote. We need to have referendums up. We need to change the system, and we need to get rid of these judges that just sit there behind the bench doing these stupid things. Can you honestly say this judge is smart? Holy shit. God, a lot of times when I'm venting, I'm upset, but I get over it. But this is one of those things that bothers me. Judges have to know that they have a big responsibility. And their responsibility, I'm sorry, but when you have a guy that does repeat crimes and you let that guy out on the street, you have to know they're just gonna keep doing what we're trying to stop. Oh my goodness. Could you imagine if judges actually could get thrown in jail? I bet you no one would want to be a judge. Maybe we need to replace judges with artificial intelligence. Maybe that'll be the future. Let's get artificial intelligence in there where they don't think about, race, and they don't think about this, that, and the other. They just look at the facts of the crime and they punish people that need to be punished. So I never thought I'd say it. Let's make the first people we replace with artificial intelligence, let's make it the judges and the parole boards. If you're with me, let me know. If you think I'm crazy, like always, you have the ability to disagree. Please share it in the comments. But just know one thing. You might disagree with me today, but if this happens to your family member tomorrow, you're going to be right there with me, agreeing with me this time next week. Here's my question for you. Empathy and sympathies are about putting yourself in other people's situations. It's about saying, gosh, I know what it's like to be in your shoes, but you don't. So this is where you have to use your imagination. If Deshaun Jones let a bad guy out and he did this to one of your family members, guess what? You would be agreeing with me in every facet. You'd say, why wasn't this guy thrown under the jail? They should throw him in a cell and then throw away the key. And that's just the way it should be. And they need to start making it where people actually get punished in jail, not where they go into jail and they become part of this hierarchy where they can become famous in jail because they're a horrible person on the outside. Gosh, our country's in so much trouble. These stories are getting more and more popular every day. Oh my God, what a heartbreaker. To those 4 kids, just know you're in my prayers and thoughts, and your mom deserves the ultimate justice. This guy should be taken out, get him off the face of the earth. Anyway, I hope you guys are having a pleasant day. This is one of those things where I'm telling you, we need to make judges the criminal's worst nightmare. We really do, and we need to start making a situation where defense attorneys, if they find out that they're dealing with a guilty party, then yes, you try to get your party the least severe penalty you can, but we need to quit trying to get these guys completely off. You know, one of the responsibilities of your attorney is they are supposed to fight tooth and nail for a client, but you're still a ward of the court. You're still supposed to be honest. And if you know your client is guilty, you shouldn't be trying to get them off. You should be trying to get them a lesser sentence. And then judges, if you know a person's guilty, you should be giving them the maximum sentence. And that's just the way it should be. And I'm out. I'll see you tomorrow.